Hi, this is Cindy
And Michael.
from Part-Time Permies, and I think we have everything set. Volume check. If you could give me a thumbs up or let me know if you can hear us. Looks like we have a few people in the room already. Incense Shop has been here for a little while. Curie, Built on the Rock Homestead, Suburban Hillbilly, Linda Taylor, Wendy C, Diana at Justice Acres. Hello. Um, and as people enter into the room, guess we've been gone for a couple weeks. I hope everyone had a good Easter.
We missed last week
We
for
missed
Easter.
last
Yeah,
week.
we
Yeah.
were on the road,
Yep.
got in late, and I'm sure most people were distracted. So
Yeah. So
figured we'd take a week off.
we went to the other side of the state on Easter. And your mom's here.
Oh, yep.
So good on the sound. Awesome. Thanks for the sound check verification. Anyway, we actually did get one video out this week. So just to go over it real quick, this is one that obviously I've been working on for a while, but you were involved in the All-Star Chef's dinner.
Yeah, so this has been a long time coming to get it edited.
Yeah.
So Cindy did finish that this week. So that's a specialty invitation dinner of 8 chefs at a local, one of the fine dining restaurants, celebration of one of the two chef owners' birthdays, and they have about 150 people come.
Yeah.
I don't think they know the chefs. They definitely don't know the food. So it's area chefs, and we put on a heck of a meal.
Yep.
So this was a behind the scenes
Thanks, Tina.
montage of things going on in the kitchen between about 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's the backside view of it, which is kind of neat. Don't get to see that so much unless you go through it. In fact, I don't think Cindy's ever been in the kitchen for most of or an entirety of a fine dining banquet plate up situation like that. So
yeah. Tina said the octopus.
Octopus came out very good.
Yeah.
I think it was their first time doing charred octopus.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
I've worked with it a lot. It did. They
did a good job.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
It was tender. It was flavorful. Octopus is a surprisingly unscary item.
Yeah. If it's cooked right.
Yeah, you either cook it fast or you cook it slow, and so it isn't rubbery. And if you do that, and a little char on it and all the rest, octopus is an amazing item for the grill. Yep. So yeah, or braised.
Yeah. So and I want to say thank you to Random Mini Farm as well. We have been very
big. People that were sick. So what, 2, I guess, were
2 were sick. And we were stopping by each house on the other side of the state because each person had something that they wanted to give us furniture-wise. So we did bring it all back.
Yeah, so we had little bits and pieces of stuff, and so it was sort of yes, it was Easter, and yes, we were seeing people, but they were sort of intermixed. We're like, well, let's knock it all out at once. We also have. So I'm heading into market season this week, so things are getting really busy, and so we're like, well, and so we were waiting for Cindy's sister was selling their house. Felix, what are you going after?
I don't know.
Is it a bug or a shadow or I don't know.
Probably
one. It's not an animal. It's a bug.
Stink bug or something.
Yeah, or his tail. Yeah. So yeah, so they sold their house. They've been waiting a little bit, and all of a sudden they got an offer when we were there about 2 weeks before. Yeah. And so they're like, oh, we need stuff out of the house instead of staging it. We need it gone. So yeah.
They had a whole antique full-size bed that she didn't want to take all the way down to South Carolina.
It's quite nice.
It's really nice.
It's really nice. So yeah, so we're like, well, we better do it right away because 1, they need it out soon, and 2, I have market starting, which is going to fill up weekends a lot more. So yeah, so we grabbed a trailer, saw everybody, cooked a quick brunch lunch. Late lunch, and got stuff and turned around and headed back.
Tina has a question about the octopus.
Yeah, octopus and squid and all those multi-tentacle things do have a central beak. It's like a collagen. It almost looks like plastic, but it's a tough.
They used to use it for quills and pens.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty sharp, and so typically when you get them, they are frequently removed. So part of it is when you're doing an octopus, you want to take out the ink bladder, you want to take out, any stored food, in it and clean all that out because it's just going to cause it to go bad. Almost all of it comes in frozen, but some's fresh. So that's removed at processing. Beak's usually out. I do find occasionally in calamari that they'll have not the little beak, but they'll have a little stretch of a it's part of their beak and their structure. It's supposed to come out, but they mechanically process it so fast that occasionally you miss them. So I do always check. Yeah, and the little guys, you just pop the beak out or cut it out. Tentacles. So these are big ones.
Yeah.
So you can either get just the tentacles. You can actually get them sous vide cooked, so they're tender.
And they just served one tentacle per person.
Yeah, they're about that size.
Yeah.
So what you can do is actually take a tentacle. If you get them pre-cooked, they're already soft and tender. You can just marinate them however you like, and then you put them into a hot pan or a grill or cut them in slices. There's no mess. They got the whole ones, which was until a few years ago the only way we did it. You braise them slowly in usually some form of a flavorful stock, liquid, vegetables. And then you cut the legs off. They're the primary used items. The bodies can be cut up. They don't present as well on the big ones. Little ones, you can get little clam squid and stuff, or clam calamari. They're about this big, and they're like that big, and you could just eat them as a bite. And sometimes it'll be in like a seafood pasta. It grosses some people out just because of the physical. It's got a little chew, so if you got a textural thing, it's not soft or slippery. It's firm and chewy, if anything. A little chew, but the flavor's mild, and it's seafoody, but it's mild. I find it really nice, and grilling does a great job with it.
Fellow Earthlings.
Yes.
Yes. Oh. Okay. We didn't. We had that video out, got that out. That took forever. I mean, I've been off this last couple months anyway, but taking 6+ hours of footage and pulling it down to 10 minutes is actually harder than it looks. So
yeah, and there's a lot of commotion. There was pre-prep and people hanging out, and then we all helped plate up.
Yeah.
You go through 8 courses. Cindy had the GoPro up across the back of the line, but some of that I think was fog, she said.
Yeah.
And then she was also running around kind of in and out of different action things and trying to get some good views. And so, yeah, there's a lot of footage on it.
Yeah.
What kind of
Tons
took place.
of footage. But yeah, it was fun though. Last week, let's see, we went out of town. This week, yesterday I planted over 100 potatoes.
We were turning soil all week.
You were turning soil most of the week. I turned a little bit.
So we turned probably a quarter of the garden with our new
broad fork. Yeah.
We've had it for a few weeks, but we got it into use, and it's working very well.
Yeah.
I have one slightly bent tine, but I think I found a root, and I didn't know it was a root or what it was. I think it was only on one tine, and I put too much pressure. I did not realize what all was going on.
Yeah.
I put it back, so it's probably a little weakened. I need to figure out if I can stiffen it, but it's still working great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to do, and that's the one pine tree where there's roots. There aren't roots anywhere else that I'm worried about at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna we need to turn another 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
It's targeted maybe up to 3 weeks. It might be more. I'd like to have it all done this week, but I'll probably do almost none of it with all my activities.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get out there.
So roots are going in. We got snow last night.
Yeah.
So we're not totally on a hurry.
This was last night. The planting potatoes was earlier in the day. This was last night.
Very late snow.
Yeah.
About 2 inches.
About 2.5 inches. I took Puddin' on a walk this morning. It was beautiful this morning. Melted pretty quickly, but it was all falling off the trees as we were walking our paths.
Small band shot across just the middle. We were supposed to be right towards the heaviest of 2 to 6 inches. We were predicting 2 to 4, and we just got the 2.
Yeah.
But there was a very tight band. It didn't even go into northern Michigan. It just shot across from us up to like Alma, which is, I don't know, and it's not even 100 miles, it's 50 miles maybe. Something like that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Or less, and it just came partway across the state and dumped a whole bunch of snow.
Yep.
So
more towards the lake, I hear it was a lot of lake effect further west.
Yeah.
They may have actually gotten closer to 4 to 6 inches.
Oh yeah, sunchokes are good. Yep, they can go in about any time.
Yeah.
Obviously, they like spring or fall. But I think you kind of, as long as they get a little water on them, they can go at any point and
Yeah,
they'll get established.
we have
Don't
some.
pick them until it gets cold, though.
Yes.
I mean, don't pick them at all this year, ideally, unless you, well, if you want to fully remove them. But generally, if you want to establish them as a perennial crop, pretty much leave them alone this year,
And then come back
and
next
then
year.
come back. Navi said was talking to me yesterday, I think. He
Yes,
goes,
market.
don't pick them this year. Wait till next. We're definitely
Yeah.
gonna pick some.
Yeah.
And if you pick them too early, they will be fartichokes because the cold weather is supposed to reduce the
Oh,
gaseous activities, which I didn't even know existed because I've always had good cold ones and then always
yeah.
served them in the winter and bought them commercially.
I
Um,
forget the name of the chemical in it that does that.
is it inulins or is it
Yeah,
some of the some
linolens.
yeah
Yeah.
some of the less
Yeah.
digestible fiber. So,
Yes.
anyways, it's good for you.
Yes.
It's like beans. So, wait till it gets cold weather and you won't have any problems.
Yep. Yeah, Linda got that snow too. Yep.
Yeah, it's open.
But by this afternoon,
I heard New York was getting some snow.
probably it goes that way.
One of my friends he's up
I guess
in
let's
the
go back to
bottom
that.
of Dutchess County,
Yeah.
or he was at he had pictures of his cabin, which is even further up. Anyways, they had some snow too last night.
Sunny and hot in Vancouver Island. Plums and cherries have set.
Well, you guys are way
Way
ahead
ahead
of
of
us
us.
in
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Oh my gosh. That warmth from the ocean, I'm guessing. Um, and this afternoon, after the snow all melted, we went and put up fences around the garden because we had to replace the ones that were
So we rolled almost 200 feet. We rolled 200 feet short of maybe 10 or 15 feet.
yeah,
Roughly two rolls of
fencing.
welded wire fencing, replacing our deer fencing, which only lasted a year, which replaced a better deer fence that we had the year before. And so we decided we're more permanent and costs are not that much different. So we rolled the welded wire, which shouldn't have a problem for quite a while.
Yeah. So that hopefully will be a little more permanent, so we won't have that issues.
Heavy icing tore it down this year.
Yeah.
It was a thinner. We talked about it was a. I bought it online. It looked really good. It was a good price. It was a thinner
Cheap.
mesh, not the holes, but it almost looked like it should have been
Hi,
tree
Puddin'.
cover for to prevent birds versus. Although it was strong, Pudding ran into it once and bounced
Bounced
back.
off of it.
So it works. I mean,
Yeah.
she's the size of a deer, but
Yeah. So, and then first time I planted in the tiny soil blocks this year, I started some peppers and some eggplant and ground cherries in
Trinidad
this
peppers,
Trinidad peppers,
our most prized
our most prized pepper.
ported pepper that
Yes.
we tried very hard, and we lost it, and so
We kept it going for 9 years or something like that, and then lost it after moving here. It survived 2 moves, but got some seeds about 4.5 years old or something, and overplanted them and got probably about a 40% germination rate.
and we always thought that they had a very low germination after the first year.
Yeah.
The first time we tried to grow them, we didn't get anything. We had an opportunity to get another pepper the following year. They grew a few, and that's where we got the one that we were able to preserve potted during the winter, and it was just eke it along. It does not like the low sun. It does not like the cool. It needs as long of an extended hot
Season.
summer as you can get. And even then, you get just a few peppers that fully mature. Some years we got 20 or 30, and some years we got like 5.
Yeah.
And then you get some green ones that you don't know if they're really mature. They're good for eating, but don't know if they're fully ready. And so, yeah, we really eke it along because we're very much on the edge of being able to grow this variety.
So I went today and took all these sprouted peppers and things and stuck them in the 2-inch soil blocks, because as soon as they sprout like that, and here comes the cat, stay there, cat. As soon as they sprout like that, their roots get right to the bottom of the soil blocks. They have to transplant them into bigger ones. But the nice thing about the small ones is you can put it on a heat pad and they stay warm. So for those types of plants, they actually germinate a little bit better, but you do have to watch the moisture. So yeah, got the soil blocks going. I was hoping to get some tomatoes started and didn't do that today. Ran out
Maybe
of time.
tomorrow afternoon, late evening.
Sometime
Yeah.
this week, but I have videos to work on, and next weekend we have market, so they're definitely going to be starting within the week, though. Carrie originally planted 2 comfrey plants in the garden, really spread and running out of room.
Well, that's what it's supposed to do. Comfrey is supposed to not have to continue to plant it. Of course, we can't get it to grow here because of our
Yeah,
sandy soil.
soil's too sandy. Yeah. Oh, another thing I did tonight is transplant a bunch of ramps that Nobby gave us. And I probably had like 50 ramps or something in those
She
2
gave us
bunches.
some medium matured ones.
Yeah,
They're
some little
still
ones.
really good eating. They haven't gotten big yet.
Yeah,
Have a nice bulb. And these were by the way, if you're getting ramps in your area or they're still coming or
yeah.
done,
In Michigan,
they
yeah.
should be cut, leaving the bulb end in. They do not regenerate, even though you have whole acres carpeted with them.
No, they multiply in their section, so you'll get a
Yeah,
bunch. Occasionally, you can take some and thin that area and
yeah.
get the bulbs, but you don't want to take the bulbs
Well, and
very
that's what
often.
you can take some, but yeah, some people go, oh, well, there's acres and acres, but they don't regenerate nearly
Very
as
fast.
fast as you can pull them out of the ground. So if you can cut them,
Yeah, then they'll come back.
um, cut as many as possible. You can pull a few if you want to pickle a few. You want to, you want to transplant them. And so we had some from the market that were given to us to get them back in the ground. And we have because we're so dry and sandy on our property to retain water, we have 2 areas where we have drip edges on the house and on a woodshed.
Yeah.
And we put some there last year. They came back this year. We haven't
Yep.
touched them or done anything because
So I expanded on it here. This is right by the house. And I created a new bed that was under some of the cherry trees in front because in the leaf piles that we were using for mulch, it's really, really damp. So I'm just going to try it, see if it works.
See if they hang in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so we've created the right environment. It's a leaf mulch. All the dripping we don't have eave troughs on some parts of the house. It just drips out past the house. So we're trying to capture that natural rain and $14.99 a pound for ramps. That's actually a fair price. If they're clean, you should see them depending on the area of the country and the urban area between about $9 and $20 a pound. Yeah, they're expensive because they're fleeting and they chase them across country. Now, actually, there's a problem. People are over harvesting because they're such a cash crop. People bring them in. Yeah. I used to get garbage bags of them in New York, even from the food suppliers, and they'd be filthy dirty sometimes. They should be clean, but they were filthy dirty. You had to get all the mud out of them, and people just pulling mounds out and taking the cash. It's like hunting for morels and different mushrooms. And that because they went from nobody using them in the early 80s to becoming, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s, darling of East Coast cuisine, or really I think the country. And so now it's a cash crop forage item, and people are ransacking them.
Yep.
And so where people say, well, there was acres of them in the forest, that's why we have to be careful. Yep. But they only run for about a month. And then they run across the country and then run up north. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, $15 a pound is not, I'd say that's right in the middle ground. Yeah. So that's why forage is good.
Forage for free, but
I think wholesale we were paying $8 and $9 a pound. Rest when we had to buy 20 pounds, 30 pounds
at a time.
Yeah.
Yep. I did learn a little bit and I put it on Instagram. I have not put anything on the webpage because that takes a lot more time. But if you're watching our Instagram, I did post a little information about this plant here. So does anybody know what this one is, or did anyone see my post about it? I'll give you a minute.
Mint?
It's in the mint family.
Can we roll it up and smoke it?
You could try. I don't know about that one.
Is it
edible? You can smoke anything you want. It is edible. It is edible. It is medicinal. It is great for pollinators because the long-tongued bees like it, which include the honeybees. And it's not henbit. It's the other one. Henbit has the difference in the the leaves. Henbit has a more rounded, scalloped edge leaf that clasps the stem. This one has a petiole that's little stalk on each leaf, and they're triangle flavored. So not
The
henbit,
triangle flavored?
sorry, triangle
What's the
shaped.
triangle flavor?
I don't know what triangle flavor is. Triangle shaped.
Yeah,
Um,
aka purple nettles.
it's
Yes.
a henbit is not the same as purple nettles.
No.
No, it isn't. It's purple dead nettle. This is purple dead nettle, but it does attract a bee fly that actually also pollinates it, but its larva will eat cutworms and other insects. So so it's it is great actually to have in the garden or around the
I
garden.
find the smell. So I grew up with these two as they're they're invasive in grassy, somewhat sandy patches of a lot of yards in
Yes.
Michigan.
Yeah.
So if you don't herbicide your yard and you just have a natural yard or
And they
park
drive over it with this
and
lawnmower.
you go cut it, especially in the spring when it's growing crazy, and you cut like backyards that are a little damp and a little mid mixed light.
Yeah.
That's one of those smells of it's not grass, but I just mowed the lawn.
It's in
And
the mint
it's
family.
pretty strong. I would say
No, you're talking about the creeping Charlie. That's different.
oh that no this too.
This too.
They're
This
both
is there too.
Creeping
Yeah.
Charlie's really strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think all of those are yeah they're edibles, and I think you could put them in a salad blend.
Yeah.
I don't know if they weaken in cooking because I haven't used them a lot by
People use
adding
them as
heat.
like herbs as
Yeah,
well.
but I would for me I would go easy because I think they'd be overpowering and
Yeah.
turn off just due to strength. Sort of like
Yeah.
oregano. I mean, you don't make a salad of oregano; it's too
No,
strong.
yeah, that's true.
But you can use it in small amounts, and it's
Exactly.
really good.
Or mixed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this one also, if you plant it with your potato plants in your garden, I read that it keeps the potato bugs away.
Yeah,
So
they eat it too and say this is terrible.
it's not terrible.
No, it's just
It's just herbal. It's like
it would
other things.
actually probably be good with like roasted chicken or something,
Yeah, it's a
where you do like where you do an Italian herb roasted
yeah.
chicken. I think if you did a forage herb and you put some of your stronger herbs, it would probably be pretty nice.
So how do you tell them apart? They have a very similar flower. Purple dead nettle has the newest leaf, and if you look closely, I don't think you could quite see it in this picture, there is a little stalk on each leaf that attaches it to the stem. The henbit has a very similar flower. It might be a bit longer, and the leaves are more like kidney bean shaped and scalloped on the edge, and they don't have that little stalk attaching it to the stem, and they are growing directly off the stem. So they're slightly different, but both very similar and both herbal. And yeah, so you can use either one. They're both in the mint family, so they're related to each other.
32 acres total, so about 1,000 square feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
covered. Well, like
It likes that loose
the
emerging
disturbed.
soil mixed, yeah,
Yeah,
disturbed, mixed, not fully,
yeah.
rooted with grass or other things. Yeah.
So, and
Um,
it shows up. It's ours shows up kind of a little bit here, a little bit there. It's
yeah.
not like it's taking over anything like crazy. So I'm
No.
actually going to transplant some into our potatoes when I get a moment. Um, oh, one thing I was able to get from the other side of the state at my parents' house. They live in a very wet woods, and they have some different plants. So I was able to bring home a few of these, and two of them took, one did not. But anybody know what this plant is? It looks a little different because the leaves are kind of more mottled, but it is similar to another one we have all over
A
Michigan.
dryland lily pad.
No, it does kind of look
It's
like
not
that,
quite
but
that
not
big. It's
really.
like it does have a similar sort of a leaf.
It's kind of similar look. So give people a moment because I know there's delays here, but if you guys know what this one is, that flower hasn't opened yet, obviously, but in this version of it, it will have a purple flower. Most common one you'll see has a very solid green leaf and white flowers that
A
turn
little
purples.
bit smaller leaf, I think, on the white ones and the
Um,
purple.
they're very similar. They're very
So that in
similar.
size, that leaf is what, about 3 inches long, two
Yeah,
inches
it's probably
long.
about 3 inches long and
So,
2.5 inches wide.
yeah, don't think it's a hosta leaf or anything.
No, no.
It's yeah,
So,
it's smaller than that.
yeah, let me TV. These look huge. Well, that's one way to get a good look at it. It's not datura. This is, by the way, it is edible, and
Very common in Michigan. My
yeah,
mom might even know this one.
yeah. Although
I mean, she does. It's just,
most people don't know this type of it. It's
yeah.
not a hosta. It's much smaller than a hosta. We are talking about this
The white
plant.
one, I think it's the state flower.
It is. I believe.
It
If it is,
was,
it
unless they
was.
changed it.
Yeah, the white one is.
Yeah.
It's actually, if you take the circumference of it, it's basically like this. So it's got the three leaves sticking out and then a flower up the middle, and it's probably about this tall, although
Jack in the Pulpit's a decent guess, but not. They're
no.
coming up. They would grow in a fairly similar wooded area. This might be a little wetter, but not much. Jack in the Pulpit ends up being a much larger plant.
Yeah, and this one it's only 4 to 6 inches tall, but if you get in really fertile soil, it get a little bigger.
Yeah, they don't get too big at all.
Yeah. No,
They're
if you
truly
think
woods.
the word for three is in it. It has three petals on its flower. It has three leaves. Word for another word for three, or a Latin word for three, is in the name. To give a hint on it, anyone? Um,
Where's all the Michigan people?
yeah, I know. Nope, don't know very many plants growing up in Michigan. And state flower was apple blossom. Well, that's been changed.
I think it's, yeah.
Um,
Places gas would shoot out of it. Yeah, in a
Trillium.
sci-fi movie.
Suburban
Yes,
Hillville.
Trillium.
It is a trillium. This one is not the white one though. This is a red trillium, called toadshade trillium. So it's another one I did put on Instagram earlier in
Yeah,
the
they're
week.
really nice, but
Yeah.
they're definitely a deep woods with, shaded light, little breaking light
Yes.
through either old woods or usually in older woods with some
Oh,
decomposing.
hardwoods.
Yeah, it's
Hardwoods.
thinned out a little bit.
Yeah. So my parents have the white ones all over front yard, and they have these red ones all over their backyard. Doesn't grow down south. Nope. In Texas. It is a Midwest plant. I'm not sure how big its range is, but it's definitely. Are you looking up the state flower?
I think my mom's right as
It was the
usual.
apple blossom.
Apple blossom doesn't need the apple blossom. Maybe
I
the
thought it was.
plant. I
Maybe it's a state plant. Yeah, I don't know.
apple blossom. Well,
At
that's
some point, I remember the trillium being a state flower
that's what
too,
I
but that's
thought.
kind of
It
funny.
was protected for a while. It is not anymore.
There are different types of trillium. So the one that's the state flower is the one that's illegal to transplant
I
or
think they've
pick.
changed that.
But it was because it was almost extinct for a
Yeah.
while, and it comes and goes. It's back and
Not
forth.
edible at all, right?
No, it is.
Oh, it is?
It is. The leaves are edible, so it's in our edible food forest. Planted it there. So it is actually edible, but most people would not pick it because it was endangered. At least the white ones, the giant trillium, which are the big white ones. I think there's a smaller version too. Um, yeah, I remember that in like elementary school or something, learning about it. I don't know.
That's what I thought too. I don't know.
So anyway, we also had a lot of pollinators starting to come out. This is a little butterfly. It is not a monarch. It's much smaller, but I saw that at my parents' house. It's sitting on a spring beauty, which is another edible that my parents have that we don't have. They have it everywhere around their house, so that's cool. So someone's asking your mom if she's going to call the cops on us.
No, I don't think that was.
No, that's not the state
Yeah.
flower one, or what we thought was the state flower. Anyway, so that's been our.
Yeah, the act was repealed. There's now 4 trillion protected interstate endangered species.
Okay. I wonder if no, that doesn't look quite the same.
That's pretty.
It's
similar.
close, but it's a wider leaf that we had.
Yeah.
So,
There's a pink one, a white one. I've seen both.
no, the white one turns pinkish purple as it dies out. Yeah. So that's the same.
Anyway, they're nice. They've always been nice.
Yeah. Oh, and bandana's here and about to go on to our next topic, which we hadn't mentioned. It's a sneak peek because we have a video coming, talking a lot about updating everything. Great. I've been exhausted and kind of nauseous for the last couple months. So definitely not sick, but we are in the second trimester now, 14 weeks. So we do have a baby coming in. Bandana said that. And I think
So
a few
yeah.
people have noticed that because I posted some things on other sites earlier.
So it's starting right about the time we were heading to the roads for the second
Yeah, we
trip
found
to
out then.
do pork butchering.
I
She
was starting
wasn't
to get
she
sick.
wasn't feeling real well,
Yeah.
so that was just
So
yeah.
actually, the first people who knew were the people who were hosting the pork butchery because
Sorry,
I was
mom.
not feeling well.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
We were debating telling my parents possibly, but only my dad came up, and it was a real fast
oh yeah,
transaction. So
that's
we were
right.
thinking about it. Cindy went ahead and told the ladies because she wasn't
'Cause-
feeling well, and they
Yeah.
all have like 4 to 5 kids apiece. So it was, there were 3 families there. The Hollers
Yeah,
were there, and the Rhodes and Art and
and Bree
Bree.
were there.
So it was kind of a quiet, kept secret.
Yes. So they kept my secret this whole time.
Yes, just so they knew that because she was sneaking off to take naps
And
and was
yeah,
doing video, was doing a lot of it, but yeah, but she was not feeling well, and so
yeah.
somebody was going to soon ask, "Do you have the flu or do you not feel well?" And so just go
Nope,
tell them.
bandana, you're good. We were
So
about to bring it up next.
yeah,
Actually, it was the next picture on my
well,
list of
Cindy
pictures.
actually put an Instagram out
Yeah.
late this afternoon, early evening on purpose. So
And that went on to our Facebook page
Facebook, yep.
as well. So that's where a lot of people saw it and commented on it and stuff. So yeah, so we did want to do a related giveaway. What are we giving away? We could do
Oh
pasta versus a garden book.
yeah,
That one.
that's a good one.
Pasta versus my with a how about one with the cover
No,
actually still on it? But
well, Four Seasons, that's a good one, but I honestly, my thought is this is really for winter. It's Four Season.
well, yeah, but it's also
It's
it's
a
four season harvest.
harvest, yes.
Um,
I would say
so
do the other,
did
our
his
other favorite.
how you
Yeah, how to grow more than you ever
yes,
thought possible in less space. Um, because
I
that's
do
really
have that.
about establishing. They have a 3-year plan for almost. It's basically a homestead
We
plan.
could do that. Where?
So I think that would be more. I would look at
Yeah,
that now as
and
you're
it has
finishing out your planting or you're in your planting and you're thinking about how they relationally do
yes,
things and why things work.
and
This is
companion
the one I would do in the fall when you're getting ready, or August when you're getting
August.
ready to start your
Okay,
winter and push it much deeper.
then we'll give that one away in August
Yeah, I'd say
if we
deeper, August,
remember.
September.
Um, the how to grow more than you thought possible. It's
Yeah.
I had it on the table the
I
other day.
know.
Um, I'm trying to remember
It
where I put
also
it
is
on.
missing a cover.
No, it isn't.
No, that one
It's
still
got a
has the
cover.
cover.
I think
That
it might be up front.
it's probably been used even more
Oh,
than
Tina, thank you.
the Elliott Coleman one, which is so good.
Yeah, no, it has a lot of companion planting things, which is actually where I learned about the dead nettle and potato connection. Because I was looking at my companion plants for potatoes. Um, did you find it might be on the table in front?
This has a lot of.
Yeah.
It also has the beginning
Yes.
of bio intensive.
Yeah.
Talks about French intensive and the biologicals of how to strengthen and support not just because of the nutrient transfers.
Yes. And this is
And
my favorite section on companion planting that
so
I
you can
open
get
up
those from
everywhere.
other places.
Yeah.
You also have
A lot of suggestions on how to plant.
and in the back, there's a 3-year plan for a family garden. It has a lot of calorie crops as if you were surviving on it, which most people don't fully have to do. Um, but some of this came out of figuring out how in primitive or very poor areas, how to get, because they started this project in the desert of California, and then it could be interpreted into third world areas where there's a lack of food, damaged soil, and how it's basically soil regeneration, and then how to build a homestead of small dwarf fruit trees, um, and lots of roots and your basic vegetables. It doesn't really go into a permaculture concept, and then that's near the back.
I don't see it in this
I
one.
think it's in there.
I was just looking.
There's
That
these
might be on the
there's
one.
these really cool
I think it's actually in
charts.
the middle.
And it goes,
It's in the
and it
middle.
goes, and they actually tell you how many feet to allocate and where to put everything and what to do for a small, medium, and large garden. I think it is.
Yeah.
Years 1, 2, 3, or
How to
maybe even
rotate.
4, and then how to create your basic rotations. So we started with that in New York when we were living in an apartment. So you want to talk about starting off in a good
Yeah.
on a good footing with something. I mean, that's getting you ahead of a lot of people that, we can always guess and try, but God, these
Yeah, we
people.
had this book before we ever had Four Season
We
Harvest.
were talking about, we met a master
It
gardener
has like
at,
drawings like this, where you have your different garden
yeah. So that
layouts.
really inspired. So you know how we did? We went to Bedford, which is a crazy sort of nice area of New York, a little bit outside New York City.
Yeah.
We went to Bedford 2020, which is like the first, I think it was the first Bedford 2020, which was an environmental summit um, based upon the 2020 plan. And here we are at almost 2020
Yeah,
and
right.
what they wanted to do. And so they do it at the high school. It's a big community event, and they did it for a couple of years. I don't know what all happened to it. And I had gone out there to see somebody or something. There was a couple of talks. It was a Saturday. We were off, and we were talking to some gardeners about what we want to do,
Yeah.
and we are thinking about starting some garden stuff. Is this right after we moved to our house?
I think so.
Maybe it was not
Yeah.
in the, yeah. And she goes, well, there's like 4 books here. These are some books that are interesting. This
Yeah.
one stuck in my head for months. And then I went and got it. She's like, this is a really good one to start with. So it started as a targeted comment. And let me tell you, it's probably been one of our most valuable books, and we still go
Yeah.
back to it.
I keep referring back
So
to
anyways,
this one.
we're also happy to do a 2 package of pasta if
Yeah.
somebody would like that.
Yeah. If you already have the book or it's not something you're
Or
interested in.
you want the pasta and you can buy the book
Yeah.
yourself. The book is not crazy. Let me tell you, for whatever the cost is, and I don't even remember the value. This is one of those books that the value is 100 times the
Oh
cost
yeah.
of the book.
Like I go back to this book every year. These 2 books
And
are
the
2
and the
books I go back
forward on this one was with that by Alice Waters. It's been updated through the years a number of
Yeah.
times. It started out at 10 Speed Press, which is an amazing specialty, tons of food books, cookbooks and crafts.
Yeah.
People that do specialty crafts. 10 Speed Press is an amazing
Yeah.
publisher for things like this. So I don't know
Okay.
if anybody else has this book, but
I thought so. Your mom stayed up past midnight shopping online when we told her.
yeah.
Because
She must have been up late.
we told her after the last live show.
Oh, that's
we
right.
did.
Yeah.
And then by Wednesday, I had packages in the mail, and I'm like, did she go straight
know,
from our phone call to like shopping?
How did that end up to us?
Anyway, that's too funny.
Yeah, Tina wants it all. Well, I would say so. We have the 7th edition. I don't know if there's an 8th edition. So it started out, and if you read the forward, I'm just taking it from memory.
Yeah.
Basically, it works like this, and I think it was UC Davis or which was it?
I don't know.
I mean, in 1974, it came
Cornell?
out by Ecology Action of the Mid Peninsula. Yeah, I mean, so it was like a self-publish.
Yeah.
And John Givons wrote it, but it was with one of the California Ag School groups, I believe.
Okay.
And so you're talking hardcore hippie growing back to the land, and oh yeah, we're going to reclaim damaged soil and we're going to grow in the desert and we're going to make it fertile, and everybody thinks we're absolutely crazy.
Yep.
And how they were able to change desert land into usable land in like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And so it's just gotten better. They've just gotten better and better, and it's become more common knowledge. But I think at that point it was almost a lost knowledge. So it was a combination of world tradition, U.S. old agriculture, and science starting to put things back together. So it was pretty neat.
And by the way, I believe I would be very surprised if I didn't list this book in our kit.
Yeah,
I'm sure it has it under the gardening section of our kit. So if you check the description
below. It was also the book that convinced me that planting by moon cycles when possible is actually a good thing to do. So
it had the science of it behind it.
Because we're both biology and chemistry and logic. There should be a logical scientific pattern. You put seeds in, you add water, you give them sun.
Although I haven't been good about doing that.
They grow, and I'm like, what is all this planting by the moon and calendars, and it's just a bunch of superstition.
Nope. It's right there.
What you start learning about some of these things is that the gravitational pull affects the availability of water.
Yep.
And so the water comes up to the surface when the moon is close, which means
when it's full.
so you can get good growth and leafing. And then once you have some roots developed, as the moon goes away, um,
It goes
well,
dark.
it moves away.
Yeah.
You have a stronger gravitational pull to the center of the earth, which means you pull the roots and the groundwater down in, so you fortify your roots. And so if you plant based upon how long your germination time is, a
Yeah.
few days, a week, a couple of weeks, and you get it so it germinates in the right cycle, what will happen is it'll take off right away. If you don't do that,
It might take longer.
it may, some people say it really makes a big difference, but I think it's mostly just stunted.
Yeah.
So you could lose almost a month's worth of growth time by planting a week different. And so when it was explained like that, I said, oh, okay.
Yeah,
this isn't just superstition and silliness. There's a lot to it. So
the problem is finding the time when you work full time to actually plant with the cycles. It doesn't always work that way, but it's an awesome.
And if you talk, you talk to the old timers, your grandparents, talk to most immigrant, I have a lot of Italian farmers and things that and just farmers in general, unless they're like big ag, corn, soybean, whatever. They're but vegetable farmers, they'll almost all say they plant by moon cycle. Some say it's superstition, some swear by it. I said it's pretty adamant about it. So that finally converted me to giving some rational experience, reason to it. So that was kind of neat.
Anyway, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll have a question that comes up, and we do actually have some rules on this. The people who won for the last 3 months cannot win this month. So basically, that would mean January, February, March. So that's Crystal, Valerie, and did we figure out who January was? Because that was the one I didn't write down, which is bad.
Should probably go. I mean, we could probably look at either our mailing receipts, my pasta receipts, or your.
It was probably pasta. Most of them were pasta.
Yeah, well, we did send out a couple books.
We did. Last time we sent out a book.
And we did it at least one other time.
So Crystal and Valerie, we know you can. If you remember who was in January, that would be great. The person who's back in the game again is Green Gables, one in December. They can answer the question.
Fish heads under tomato. Yeah, fish heads under a lot of things just because of the nutrients. Fish heads and guts are great.
It's great for
if you have extra stuff laying around, and then and then they had someone just told me, of course, the old match head thing, and I don't try because match heads have different chemicals in them. I don't know, but the traditional match head, you put a couple of match heads under your pepper plants, and it's basically you have if there's any gunpowder, you have nitrogen in it, but if it's you can have sulfur compounds and other things, and so that's an invert, but that's effectively putting fertilizer. It's a chemical fertilizer more so than putting a nutrient like a decaying fish is
more complex.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, our question: the first person who shows up with the right answer on our screen, which keep in mind it doesn't always show up in the same order on everyone's screen, but we'll have to go by our screen. But the first person with the correct answer on our screen will win, except for those who won the last 3 months. So our
did it make you grow taller?
Eat matches as a child. Oh, I don't know about that. So are you ready for the question, or are we still talking?
Yeah, hot peppers.
Is that how you get hot peppers? Yeah. So the question is, what month am I due? And we did not mention it on the live show, although
I don't know if my mom's eligible for this one either.
Your mom doesn't do gardening anyway. I'm guessing she's going to hold off.
Yeah, and we send her pasta when they need pasta.
So what month am I due is the question. We did not say it during the live show, but I did announce it in other places.
Oh, there we go.
Kiri already.
That was quick.
Kiri.
Oh, and Tina was fast.
Second. Okay. Built on the Rock Homestead got it first on our screen.
So we have to send pasta to the Rocky Moon all the way to Texas. All right.
Okay, Kiri.
Or the book.
Kiri, do you want the pasta or the book?
You might need the book because you're growing on the moon. I mean, they're growing in the desert. You know, I don't know that,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
let it.
am due at the end of October, so some people could probably figure that out from when we were saying I found it out just before going to the roads, but yeah, she wants the book. Okay, so email me where I'm to send it, where I should send it, and I will
We'll do a direct send
through
through,
Amazon.
probably through Amazon has it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll send that into you to just email it.
So yeah, so if you
Cool.
just,
You're gonna really like that book. I think even because you're in a tough growing,
it
not
might be even
not everything works, but that might
might help
provide
you.
some really cool ideas. I mean, they get into raised beds and mounds and just a whole variety
Excuse
of
me.
stuff. So you probably don't need 4 season growing. Actually, if anything, you probably change your growing so that you come out of the heat and you go
Into the cold
like
weather
lots
stuff.
of parts of the world
Yeah.
where you replant in the fall and try
Mm,
and grow your lush, more tolerant stuff through the winter um, versus trying to do it in the middle of the summer where nothing wants to grow. But
okay. Anyway, um, yeah, and if you're doing raised beds, this is
send it
awesome
to the
because
moon.
if you
Mr. Brown. Tina shares with Mr. Brown.
October,
Okay.
okay. I'm actually due October 24th. So it'll be the end of the month, which also means that we will not be going to Homesteaders of America conference this year because I can't leave town. That
Yeah, we
will,
really want to go to Homesteaders, but I mean, it's sort of a busy time to pop out for me. Markets are just starting to conclude, so that works. But
and it'll be, it's going to be a
I know
week or
it's
two.
gonna be right in.
I could be delivering it, the Homesteaders, if I
Well, I'm
go.
sure there's plenty of people that could help you do it. They'll do it in a bathtub or something, or upside down, or there'll be a million people that all know the best way.
Oh boy.
So,
No.
but no, it's just not going to work. So, unfortunately, we're going to skip Homesteaders
Yeah.
this year. We were looking forward to doing that.
Yeah. But that timing didn't work very well.
Concentrate on my business and Cindy, and trying to get the garden up and going. And we're pushing more and more towards trying to do 50% of our own food.
Yep.
It's not a necessity. It's more a want. We've been working towards that for the last year and a half,
Yeah.
but we think it's a good. And then
And it would be nice to be able to do some things to make some baby food instead of having to buy everything too.
yeah, and then I'm really pushing and trying to grow our pasta business. So it was gonna be a busy year anyways,
Yeah.
but we really have to push everything forward so that we can take a little as we get into that October period and wind things down for the fall. Things aren't falling apart with the business. So
Thanks, Bandana. We'll miss you too.
yeah, we're really. I mean, we
Can't,
had a blast the last 2 years. It was
yeah.
yep.
Can't help you with your tent this year though. I'm sorry. Um, although we'd have to start putting the tent up for market twice a week now.
I'm doing 3 markets starting Wednesday. I have a Wednesday day market. Uh, this Saturday, I start our big market downtown.
Hi,
That's the
Sharon.
traditional market. And then we have a sort of, it's not a suburb, but it's the next over village town just outside of town has a real nice market. And so we're going to start that in 2 weeks on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So we're just adding the Wednesday market that we didn't do before, and then continuing everything else.
So
And
it's
we're
gonna
going
be
to and
busy.
I'm gonna start doing some prepared food like hot or cold pastas. So that means I need to get up. I'm thinking like 3 o'clock in the morning
Crazy.
possibly, because yeah, cold food. Of course you can pack it the night before, but
No.
hot food, um,
Kind of have to put it together before you
you have
go.
to pack it and you have to store it, and you can't do it the day before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm working on trying to adjust my sleep schedules already. I'm trying to get up around 5. My thought is I can't get up more like if I'm getting up 2 hours earlier on Wednesday, I could be getting up at 4 or 5, and
Here you go,
Saturday I think
Nose.
I'm getting up at 3 or 4. I need to get on an early schedule. So yeah,
Here you go, Noah's Ark. Yes, that is what that is. That is
how did
a
Noah's Ark just pop in?
just yeah, and said question baby. But I think Noah's Ark commented on the Facebook page. I put it on Instagram, shared it to the Facebook page. So yeah. So thank you, Two Family. I saw a comment from Two Family Homestead on the Facebook page
My
also.
mom asked, "Are you looking pregnant? Can you show
Am I
us?"
looking pregnant yet?
A little bit, somewhat.
Just a little bit. You can't tell when I have a sweatshirt on.
Cindy says, "Don't touch the belly."
at least not without asking. You know, it drives me nuts when people say all of a sudden say, "Oh, can I?" I'm like, just ask
If you were
first.
in New York, I think that's would be a
Well,
all day long thing.
yeah, yeah, but that
Um,
might be my Midwest thing. We don't do the kiss kiss thing that New York did, and
rub the Spanish
yeah,
rub the belly and all of that.
yeah. I have been asked by a patient that I knew already at work. Um, uh, so she did ask. She goes, "Are you pregnant?" Like that was the first one asking me. No one else
What
has
was I
yet.
gonna? What was it?
What are you looking for?
Just scroll just a second. I was trying to remember. Oh, when does our garden freeze? If that was towards
Oh yeah,
us,
yeah.
we get our first frost
Early October.
between early and late October.
I
Um,
think average is 10th or something in
yeah, so
October.
that means we are pulling the rest of the green tomatoes and the peppers and the all that stuff's coming out. You
And
know,
what I do, we just watch the weather. So as it comes up to that
we try and
time,
catch it the day of or the day before.
exactly,
You
exactly.
pull all the green stuff so it doesn't. Sometimes you get through the first light frost if it's somewhat covered.
Yeah.
But a lot of things stay in there. People keep the pumpkins in after the frost and harvest if you want to. We've got lots of roots. The roots get sweeter, so
Mm,
root vegetables don't even want to come out unless you need them.
yeah.
You can hold them.
Yeah, Green Raven, that would be a little too much. Not gonna do that one on YouTube.
No, no, no. Yeah, I don't think that's the plan.
No, 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 no.
So
We might have to have a little break in videos around that time too, because I'm the editor. So, um,
yeah,
I'll see you at the Hootenanny, right? Not
yeah, we're
us.
gonna do
At the Hootenanny, yes, this summer. We're gonna be camping.
Hootenanny will be there.
Yes, Hootenanny.
I will get there at the end of the day after market. Cindy will get there
I'm gonna get there the night
the night
before.
before. Yep.
So I'm
Um,
gonna set up a
yeah.
tent, well, probably pretty big. So if you know of anybody who can help out, that would be awesome. It's an easy tent, so it's just like a pop-up thing. But I'm
Or
gonna,
if she's really pregnant and uncomfortable, she'll have to hitchhike to find all the
trailer.
trailers and find a trailer to crash before the first night. So
We gotta test
yeah.
our air mattresses
And then for
because
Carrie
yeah,
asking about that's where this book
yeah.
Elliot Coleman is in Maine. He's like one or two zones colder than us, and he grows or maintains product through the year. Most time it isn't growing; it's just hanging out. So that second book is what do you do when it gets really cold?
And you can actually hold a lot of the cold hardy things, brassicas and greens, a lot of the colder hardy greens and root vegetables and stuff, you can hold them through the entire winter and just
Yeah,
harvest through the
yeah.
winter.
We saved a couple of Brussels that were very very slow growing that they almost lost it. We lost, and they're start regenerating this year and have a head start. Yes, bandana, Grandma. I will be doing a pasta demo,
And you can buy there.
like a hand rolled, and probably bringing some flour out so kids or other people can
Can
roll some pasta. I don't know if they can really hold on to it unless they got a cooler. I guess a lot of people do.
well, a lot of people have
Yeah, so
trailers.
we'll talk about making hand rolled traditional pasta. It's a little different than what I do. I do extruded, and I'll set up a tent and I will make pasta available. We did do that last year, and
I'm gonna have the table set up.
yeah, and so we will bring a bunch of pasta. We offer it at our best possible pricing. We're not gouging
Yeah.
anybody. We're just making it available.
We're doing
So
it market prices at the Hootenanny,
market
basically.
price or below.
Yep.
So yeah,
Um,
it's our best pricing.
Cattails.
Just so you know that,
Yeah.
because we do appreciate the sales and the income. However, it's just there. We're not.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
focal point of the event.
No, we'll be one of the demos that are
Yeah,
set up.
and then I'll do a demo hopefully late in the afternoon. I've got to get back from market. Well, I got to get there from market.
Hey,
Um,
13 Moons.
Shoot, if I've got extra leftover fresh product, I'll have product to give away. Man,
Yeah,
I'll be tired if I get up at 3 in the morning
you're gonna be.
and I'm gonna get in there like 4:30, and oh
I'm
my
guessing you're not gonna be
gosh,
sitting by the fire on that night.
I don't know. It's gonna be bad.
Or you'll have to take a nap in the middle of the event in the afternoon.
I don't get in till late
I know,
afternoon.
right?
That's the problem.
Are you going to put a low tunnel type thing inside the greenhouse? That is an idea.
That's one,
Um,
yeah, and that's one thing Elliot Coleman recommends is
yeah,
to increase low tunnel with a double tunnel.
yeah,
So a mid tunnel or a high tunnel and then some low. I don't think we need it because we have the house.
yeah.
We may
Double
double
plastic.
line it,
Yeah.
and we did not get quite as much heat as we wanted in the cold